100 DevOps Interview Questions Based on Real-World Issues. Answers with YouTube Short Video Source. Why do DevOps builds become slow, and how can caching help? What are common reasons for DevOps deployment failures in C/CD? How can monitoring improve DevOps server uptime? Why do Kubernetes pods restart frequently in DevOps environments? How can DevOps teams reduce Docker container bloat? Why is storing secrets in logs a DevOps security risk? How can DevOps pipelines be optimized for speed? What DevOps strategies help reduce high cloud costs? How does configuration drift impact DevOps environments? Why do DevOps jobs fail due to Jenkins plugin mismatches? How can Terraform state corruption affect DevOps workflows? What DevOps best practices help manage API rate limits? How can excessive logging impact DevOps system performance? What vulnerability scanning tools are essential for DevOps? How does microservices instability affect DevOps deployments? What DevOps strategies ensure successful C/CD rollbacks? How can DevOps teams reduce false positives and alerts? What are the best ways to handle high DevOps server loads? Why do DevOps merge conflicts occur, and how can they be avoided? What role does network topology play in DevOps performance? How does load balancer overload impact DevOps applications? What causes database connection failures in DevOps pipelines? Why do single points of failure cause DevOps outages? How can indexing optimize slow DevOps database queries? What causes memory leaks in DevOps applications? How does container networking affect DevOps efficiency? Why is storing C/CD secrets in plain text a DevOps mistake? What DevOps strategies minimize downtime during upgrades? How can centralized logging improve DevOps debugging? Why is tracking environment changes critical in DevOps? What are common Ansible mistakes in DevOps automation? What DevOps misconfigurations lead to Helm deployment failures? How does performance degradation impact DevOps cloud environments? What causes C/CD rollbacks to fail in DevOps? How does poor autoscaling impact DevOps cloud performance? What causes resource deadlocks in DevOps workflows? How can DevOps engineers speed up slow container startup? What DevOps best practices help identify unused cloud resources? Why do package version conflicts occur in DevOps pipelines? What impact does cluster overload have on DevOps systems? How does cache invalidation affect DevOps efficiency? Why is API security crucial in DevOps? How can DevOps teams manage excessive log storage? Why do SSL certificates expire in DevOps systems? What DevOps backup strategies are essential for disaster recovery? How does network congestion affect DevOps cloud performance? Why do service discovery failures impact DevOps microservices? How does log formatting improve DevOps debugging? What retry logic strategies prevent DevOps system failures? How can DevOps teams optimize C/CD pipeline performance? What causes serverless function failures in DevOps? How do IAM misconfigurations create DevOps security risks? Why do DevOps cloud bills spike unexpectedly? What DevOps best practices ensure automated rollbacks work? How do inconsistent environments impact DevOps C/CD success? How do cloud service limits affect DevOps deployments? What causes deployment script failures in DevOps? How does automation prevent DevOps team burnout? Why is over-permissive IAM dangerous in DevOps? What causes backup failures in DevOps environments? How does worker node capacity affect Kubernetes in DevOps? What are key incident response steps in DevOps? How do DevOps authentication failures disrupt services? How can DevOps teams secure exposed cloud storage buckets? Why is missing monitoring data problematic in DevOps? How do DevOps hybrid cloud synchronization issues occur? What risks do expired Kubernetes certificates pose for DevOps? Why should DevOps engineers clean up unused persistent volumes? How do firewall misconfigurations impact DevOps security? What are DevSecOps challenges in DevOps adoption? How can DevOps teams use API rate limiting efficiently? Why do DevOps multi-cloud deployments fail? What DevOps best practices prevent API versioning issues? How does logging overload impact DevOps observability? Why do Kubernetes services enter crash loops in DevOps? How do DNS misconfigurations cause DevOps failures? How can DevOps teams track API changes effectively? Why is role-based access control, RBAC, Essential in DevOps. What are the risks of delaying DevOps security patches? How does infrastructure drift affect DevOps consistency? What tools automate API documentation in DevOps? Why is environment variable management crucial in DevOps? How does inefficient scheduling impact DevOps resource utilization? What causes delayed alerts in DevOps monitoring systems? Why is backup data integrity vital in DevOps? How can DevOps approval processes be automated? What causes logging latency in DevOps observability? How does container image optimization improve DevOps? Why should DevOps teams standardize artifact storage? How does test coverage affect DevOps reliability? What best practices ensure efficient DevOps database scaling? Why do Kubernetes pod evictions occur in DevOps? How does cloud storage performance affect DevOps databases? Why do APIs experience overloads in DevOps environments? How do forgotten test environments waste DevOps resources? What impact do unused DNS records have in DevOps? How do inconsistent build dependencies impact DevOps teams? Why do log retention misconfigurations cause DevOps issues? How can DevOps teams proactively prevent downtime? What DevOps strategies optimize network latency? Benefits of learning DevOps issues and solutions on the fly with 14 seconds YouTube shorts from my channel.